Fans view this Monday morning. Monday morning up with the lark. I think we'll go up to Celtic Park. I wish. It is Monday morning. It is the day that we suspect that some of the Celtic players will return back to pre-season training. It all starts all over again today for some of the players. A lot of the youth players will be back in to Lennox Town, so Brendan Rodgers can run the rule over them. But there's still transfer speculation. And is it going to be a busy week? I need to stop winding someone up. Is it going to be a busy week for Celtic? And is Brendan Rodgers getting his way? Or is it just more transfer speculation? I just say good morning to everyone in the chat, first of all. To see who is all in the house on this fine Joseph Davison, Dave Morton's in, Tommy Fish in Scotland. Yes, yeah, Joseph, I read that this morning and it's the most ridiculous thing ever, saying that we have any interest in an AGM that's going across the road. We have no interest whatsoever. Celtic set their own agenda, and they set their own targets. That's what's made us so damn good over the last 25 years. You don't get 25 years of dominance in Scottish football by looking over your shoulder thinking, what are they doing? It's by making us better, and that's what's happening at the moment. With the transfer speculation rife, is Brendan Rodgers about to make a double deal this week for two players that have kind of been spoken about? Hateo Inamura. Will he be the defender that Celtic decide to bring in? Will he be the defender that Celtic bring in? He's 23-year-old. He is a left footer, I believe, and is also a left back, which gives him that dual positioning that Brendan Rodgers may like, due to the fact that we're still in the search for a left back that can give Kieran Tierney backup. But then there's another one that is not going away, and it's the West Ham midfielder. Although no approach has been made, it's been suggested as yet, the noises are that Celtic are still looking at Andy Irvine from West Ham as a player to help out with the Scottish quota when it comes to international and the Champions League. We know that we are one player down, but we replaced him in the goalkeeper sense. But with Stephen Welsh, with it being unsure if Stephen Welsh will be in the squad, the Champions League squad, it'll be an interesting one to see if we do go down the road of getting in Andy Irvine, because the reason that you're getting him in is you're getting him cheap as chips. But we're about to announce the Benji deal. Hopefully Celtic announce that sometime today, and hopefully it's just a week of drip feeding the fans with brand new players in at Lennox Town and getting their pictures taken at Celtic Park. Having spent time in Austria, West Ham, the ex-Hearts player, is he in a short list of players? I mean, we haven't been linked with too many midfielders, and I still think the fact that he is Scottish, and Brendan Rodgers did say, remember, in an interview the week after the season finished, I think it was on Sky Sports, the interview that Brendan Rodgers did, he said that he wants to get a focus on Scottish players this transfer window. Well, all he's brought in is Kieran Tierney. He's brought in Ross as the third choice goalkeeper. If he brings in the Iron Brew Iniesta, as he's been called down south, where's Callum Osmond? He will probably be announced this week. It's looking like Celtic are going to try and dominate the media. If that mob across the city have an AGM this week, you've got to think of the way that the media has always worked ever since the 1990s, and the clubs knew that they could try and dominate media headlines. Obviously the back pages have gone and it's now clicks online, and Celtic know exactly how to play the online space. and they're doing that with some great effect. If they've got an AGM this morning, wherever it is across the city, Celtic will want to use that as a time to, as soon as they let out any information at all with the AGM, Celtic drop out a little drop mic moment. Yeah, we've got another new signing in, and then they'll drip feed that all week. And I think that if Celtic are going to do it right, they'll drip feed us good news stories every single day right up to Friday. And then maybe Brendan Rodgers will give a press conference this Friday, but you don't know. Johnny Kenny to join Motherwell on loan. Well, that's an interesting one. If he joins Motherwell, will that have any impact at all on Celtic trying to get in a certain player from Motherwell? Be interesting. And a lot of players are going to find out exactly what the plans are. I mean, obviously last week Brendan Rodgers in the backroom staff would have been back in at Celtic. We're going to sign a Brazilian player. I'm going to say, Michelle, we've not had much luck when it comes to Brazilians and South Americans. I had such high hopes for one Argentinian player who it just didn't go too well for him. But then he went back to South America and he became an absolutely fantastic fullback. And then you look at Louis Palma, a more recent one. Although Brendan Rodgers does like his South American players. Do you know, if there's anyone that can turn around a South American player, it's Brendan Rodgers. So we'll keep an eye on that one. John says he feels sad for Kenny, didn't get much game time. He was brought back at a time where we realised that we needed cover because Kyogo was going out and we didn't have a third choice striker. When the younger strikers coming through the B team, you can understand why we brought Kenny back and we didn't put him back out on loan. I'm not going to berate Celtic for that, because Celtic maybe felt that he came back a bit too early and he needs that little bit more experience, and Johnny Kenny maybe knows that himself to cement his first team place. I mean, he's going to be the long-term replacement for Adam Ida, so Adam Ida's not finished by any chance. Adam Ida's just getting into his second season now, so he'll be looking to push on. Johnny Kenny has got time on his side as a striker and he's got the contract to go with it. With the fact that we let go Kyogo Furiashi, Daniel Cummins, if Daniel Cummins had signed a new contract with Celtic, Johnny Kenny would have been put straight back out on loan. He wouldn't have been kept at all. Daniel Cummins made the team, and you've got to remember, Johnny Kenny was brought back and he couldn't play in the Aston Villa game. He couldn't play in the Aston Villa game, hence the reason that Daniel Cummins played. So you've got to trust the process, as Brendan Rodgers says. I don't believe that I'm quoting a Brendan Rodgers comment, but you've got to say that I trust what we're doing with Johnny Kenny, because he has improved so much as a player, and you don't want him to peak too early and then not make it. If Celtic are serious about making him a long-term replacement for Adam Ida, for me, I think that they're going about it the right way. People will say, but well, you're bringing in Callum Osmond. Well, he's played at the higher level. You know, he's had that experience of playing at that higher level, so that brings him in a position-wise to be the third choice striker. You know, he has played at that higher level, in which Johnny Kenny hasn't. So maybe putting Johnny Kenny out to get some more game time and get him to kick on this season, because let's face it, Adam Ida's not going to be here for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, is he? I mean, Celtic will try and punt him on in the future as well. So far, youth players, Brendan Rodgers talks a lot of nonsense, says Paul. Yeah. Brendan also likes to bring in Scandinavians. Yeah, he does that. It's going to be, like I say, it's definitely going to be an interesting day when it comes to Celtic. It's going to be an interesting week, especially with the whole, with all the players that have allegedly signed deals already. You've got Benji, you've got the young boy Osmond. I mean, that's 2 deals that Celtic can announce this week. If we bring in Sun Yamada, the Benji one, Osmond, if we bring in the defender, you know, there's a lot of business that could be potentially done this week, and it gets Brendan to the place that he wants to be. It gets him in that happy place, and he gets them in the happy place. Is Kenny going to Motherwell? Bargain chip to bring Miller in our direction, do you think, Baz? It could be. But there's not been any contact. According to Lennon Miller's dad, there's not been any contact from Celtic. So, pre-season starts today, Lanky, so you're a few players out. Because there's only 2 for the first team squad, and as of this morning, so you will get Kieran Tierney heading into Lennoxtown this morning, and young Ross, the third choice goalkeeper. I wonder who else will be back, because there has obviously been a lot of international games, and there's some fantastic first team players that are not going to be back for a couple of weeks yet. So, it is the beginning. It's always fascinating at the beginning of the transfer, at the beginning of pre-season, because Brendan Rodgers does get to work with the younger guys that are in the B team that have the potential to mix it up and bring it up into the first team, and he looks at them and they have discussions about the future. There's still B team players that run out of contract at the end of this month, so there could be talks when it comes to that, is whether they're going to, did they come back into training? Well, I think they must do if the contract doesn't run out until the end of this month. There's quite a few players in the B team whose contract runs out next Monday. So this week gives Brendan Rodgers a week to look at those younger players and determine whether they're good enough to get a contract at Celtic. You would think that the B team management would be the ones that kind of advise Brendan, but there has been a few that have been out. You've got to look at all the ones that were out on loan last season. They're going to come back to Celtic. They're going to want to know what's happening with their future. So it could be one of those summers. We're talking about 3 or 4 players coming in. I think potentially it still could be a summer where there's 7, 8, 9 players come in because of the turnover that we've had. KT, Dohan, Benji, Osman, that's 4 players that we've signed. Well, Osman hasn't been announced, neither is Benji. And you said before, so let's not get pedantic about it. It's you said before pre-season training. Those 2 of those players have not been announced by Celtic yet. And we'll go down that road. Just got to wind you up this morning, mate. Can't bear the thought of Adam Ida being our main striker. Well, he's not going to be, Danny boy. I still think that Celtic will go out and get a striker. If not, it's going to be throwing everything at Dyson Maida to be our number 1 striker. Sean McArdle should be given a chance. Yes, he should. He played well against Aberdeen and then dropped off for some reason. He just wasn't getting game time. If Rio goes, then Miller will be ours, says Joseph Davison. Speculation is just going to go through the roof no matter what Celtic do this week. But like I say, this week is all going to be about the younger players, and the younger players that we're talking about, and it's the ones that are out on loan that will really have question marks over them. Because you've got 3 young goalkeepers out on loan from the B team. You've got Josh Clark, young Toby, and young Joe Morrison. 3 goalkeepers all out on loan. You've then got Matthew Anderson, Adam Montgomery, young Lenny, Ben Summers as well. So that's another 4 players that, Ben Summers and Adam Montgomery were kicking around the first team this time last season. They'd got some game time the season before. They were told to go out on loan. They've done that. And now it's time for there's going to be a decision to be made with those players. One, have they progressed enough to join the first team? Will they get enough game time? And that's what it comes down to. We'll want the youth players to be given a chance, but if Brendan Rodgers says that they're not good enough for the rigours of 3 cups in Scotland and then potentially the Champions League or the Europa, depend on which route that we end up going down. Hopefully it's the Champions League, because obviously the Champions League is where the money is. The fact that we're losing Daniel Cummins, we've lost Joey Dawson already, The B team's on the verge of getting decimated. Francis Turley, Sean McArdle, Jude Bonner. That's 3 players that are in the mix with the other 4 players. So that's 7 players that could potentially step up into the first team. But they won't all be given the chance. And I think Sean McArdle, Francis Turley, Jude Bonner, and then you've got to add Dane Murray into the option as well. So that's players that will all be thinking, this has to be my season under Brendan. If he doesn't bring in 1, 2, 3 of these young players into the first team squad, we can write off another season of basically youth players leaving for nothing. And if he doesn't see that, well, I think Dane Murray will be the one that does get the big chance. He was unlucky at the end of last season, obviously being injured. Jude Bonner looked a good prospect, as did Francis Turley, who came into the team and then back out. Sean McArdle got a run out at the end of the season. Brendan Rodgers likes giving them a run out at the end of the season, but he can't do it at the beginning of the season, because if they make that one mistake, just like Dane Murray did in the Champions League game, was it the Aston Villa game, he made that mistake on the edge of the box and it cost Celtic a goal. Was it the Aston Villa game? I can't remember. But he was frustrated with that. And Brendan Rodgers knows that you cannot have those mistakes. You cannot have players in the squad that just isn't up there. There's too big. There's too much at stake. The first season we go out the Scottish Cup early on to Kilmarnock because we hadn't clicked. We lost the cup final the end of last season because we'd run out of steam. So it's getting that balance. Brendan Rodgers is really going to have to get the balance this year. Brendan Rodgers will want to win a treble. As it comes down to it, I mean, Brendan Rodgers was more successful his first time round at Celtic than he has been this time, because he's not got that elusive treble yet, and he will want to be the one that gets the treble that makes us world record breakers. At 18, it's a rarity of the game now. Most are coached 1-to-1 roles. Miller's leaving Scotland. It looks more likely that he'll leave Scotland. I've seen the young Lennon play at Motherwell, was pretty good. Lennon Miller wouldn't deserve a starting spot on our team. If he doesn't want to join without guaranteed starting spot, we move on to another option. But that's what I'm talking about. I mean, there's options within inside Celtic. Do you know, there is options inside Celtic. You've got Jude Bonner, McArdle in that midfield. Lennon Miller's had more game time than those players, more first team action. That's the only difference between. If you'd given Sean McArdle the same amount of game time that Lennon Miller's had, where would the two of them be, and who would be the better player? The same's got to go for Jude Bonner. Do you know, it's who would be the better player between Lennon Miller and Jude Bonner. So sometimes, as good a prospect as Lennon Miller could possibly be at 18-year-old, and the fact that they're wanting around about 5 million, it could be the fact that we've got a £5 million talent sitting in the team already, but we just haven't given them the opportunity to shine. And this is why I'm saying it's a massive season. It's not about Brendan Rodgers just getting his own way in the transfer market and bringing players in and saying that I need to get the quality better and we need to do this, we need to do that. It's all about the fact that if Celtic are seriously want to give players something to play for in the B team, they need to have the pathway. And now that we no longer have the pathway manager, and I've no idea what Darren O'Dea did. I think it was just to get Darren O'Dea out of the B team personally. And the Celtic haven't made an announcement if they're going to replace Darren O'Dea as pathway manager. So there's all these things that are going on in the background that we're never going to be privy to. But it could be a week where Shin Yamada comes into Celtic. He could be joined by another Japanese defender, Heito Hayato Inamura. Better get it right. And then there's obviously the Benji one that's going to be announced this week. I mean, when you've got transfer gurus announcing it on the land of Twitter that it's a done deal, and then Celtic, I mean, it's 9:20 in the morning, the stock exchange has opened. Celtic have made no announcements this morning. They never do in the morning, do they? It will be a late... It could be a busy afternoon for Celtic. I mean, they welcomed back Ross on a 3-year deal last week. Was that the Friday? And then, it's all about timing. Anyway, it's just a quick one this morning. Miller could be the next Paul Lambert. It's a gamble worth taking. Miller could be the next Paul Lambert, but so could Jude Bonner, Sean McArdle, Francis Turley. Plays more on the wing, but I mean, these three players. I mean, if you're looking at it from a Scottish perspective, you've got Jude Bonner and Sean McArdle that are champing down the door. If Celtic were to go out and spend $5 million on Lennon Miller, what does it say to Jude Bonner and Sean McArdle? They're like, just because he's at a... Here's a thought for you, right? If Jude Bonner and Sean McArdle were at Motherwell and came through the ranks at Motherwell, they would more than likely be in the first team alongside Lennon Miller. You can guarantee that. You can guarantee that they would be in the first team. And it's only the Celtic and the way that we are about being overprotective, manager being nervous about bringing in youth because in his eyes it could make the squad weaker. That's the only way that you can think about it. That he's thinking that these young players are good, but they're a couple of years away from being the level that we need them to be at Celtic. So it's 6.5 dozen, as they say. Anyway, is it? Anyway, that's us done and dusted for this morning. We're going to sit and wait to see what happens today. I'm sure that there'll be some banter year commentary going out today with the fact that if seemingly that lot have got an AGM already. Are they a new club? Has somebody been on to Company's House yet? Wait a minute. The Rangers Football Club Limited, incorporated on the 29th of May 2012. Their next statement was due on the 29th of May. They're late with their accounts. Previous company names: Sefco Scotland Limited. If you want a bit of a laugh this morning, head over to Company's House. We can never let them forget. Dave Martin says they don't want Miller. He's not ready for the pressure of playing at Celtic. Well, are the players that we're talking about? Miller's already proven SPFL baz at 18. Yes, he is. But we need to get our own young players doing the exact same at 18. Do you know? Anyway, the 49ers. Doesn't look like they've changed name, but you never know. People. Let's see the people bit. Oh, registration. They've been charged. Registration of charge. The Rangers. What's this? Oh, Rangers have been taking out loans. Security assignment of certain transfer fees receivables. Oh, Rangers have been taking out more loans. Trailer for sale or rent. Room to let for 50 cents. There you go. The South Koreans are up to their knees in debt again. Oh, wait a minute. Football creditor in respect of any person creditor the person in a football club. HR. Oh my goodness, we've got insult. Oh wow, you need to get this. I need to put this link up. I'll go through it when we're off air. There may be trouble. I need the short code. I need a short code for it. And go and click on the first link and then click on File in History. And then on the 11th of March 2025, registration of charge. Confirmation statement, 3 pages. The Rangers Football Club Limited. The Rangers. The company confirms that its intended future activities are lawful. Oh God! Oh, what are that mob up to? Oh, I need to get this up on the screen before we go. Oh my goodness! I've got a funny feeling there's going to be a serious amount of banter years content coming out again this season. Rangers have made the following statement to the stock exchange. The Rangers Football Club Limited, the company confirms that its intended future activities are lawful. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world. Oh my days.